what would it be like if really you were a mother who always said yes? What would that be like for the children? So in this book, you actually see it play out. I don't know if you could see the cover, but this is a whole bunch of children trying to buy things, and the mother's just saying yes to everything.
Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we're actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can all still be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it.
Welcome back to Imperfect Momming. I am your host, coachalysialyons, and we have a very special guest today, Bracha Goetz. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
And when I asked how you say your name, you said exactly. Perfect response, best response ever. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm the author of 43 children's books, and they're not just like typical children's books. I say they all are books that help children's souls to shine. And then just one memoir about my journey to joy in life. And I'm the mother of 6 children who are amazing parents. They're grown up. They're all amazing parents themselves. So it's and I have a whole lot of grandchildren, thank God. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you love children with 43 children's books. When did you start writing children's books?
You know, the first book I wrote, I had a couple of little children and they were playing outside, and I had like a few minutes to write because they were like occupied and busy. So I brought my notebook with me, and I had a chance to write a story that I had been thinking about for a while, but finally I had the opportunity. I wrote it. I literally wrote it. I never typed it up. I hand wrote it, put it in an envelope, and I was living in Israel. I mailed it to America, and like 6 weeks later, I got back a letter that the book was accepted. So I was like, whoa, I can write children's books. That was how it began. Yeah.
Wow, what an incredible story. I've been hearing a lot of authors like origin stories recently.
Yeah.
And I love that. You just wrote it down and popped it in the mail, and
Yes.
and you were accepted. And that's not a typical story of how people get started.
Yeah, and it was like before computer days, you know what I mean? So like it wasn't, but I didn't even type it. I just sent it out like that. And yeah, so that gave me the confidence to just keep going. It was really thrilling.
That is really cool. And you said you have 6 children.
6, yeah, they're all grown up, and they have their own families. Yeah.
Very cool. So can you tell us what, like, I always say that picking your favorite book that you've written is like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
Which you're not supposed to do, but I only had one, so I didn't have to have a favorite.
Yes.
But could you pick a favorite? And if not, what's one that you want to share with us?
I'll share the newest one. This is The Mother Who Always Said Yes, so it's appropriate for this show, you know? The Mother Who Always Said Yes. This came about because about a year and a half ago, one of my granddaughters, we were hanging out together, and she was asking her mother for some candy. Her mother said no. She turned to me and she said, when I'm a mother, I'm going to always say yes. And right away, this light bulb went off in my head. I mean, that is like every child's fantasy, I think, So I said, oh my gosh, you just gave me the title for a book. That would make a great book. What would that fantasy look like? What would it be like if if really you were a mother who always said yes? What would that be like for the children? So in this book, you actually see it play out. I don't know if you could see the cover, but this is a whole bunch of children trying to buy things, and the mother's just saying yes to everything, and then they have all the pets they want. The place becomes completely filthy. No one has to do any cleanup. It goes on, and things get more and more wild and chaotic and dysfunctional, basically. And this is a dream that she's having when she wakes up, at the end. There's no preaching in this book. The children just see what happens if that fantasy comes to life. And she ends up at the end, how lucky will my children feel? Let me guess. They will always be happy, right? Yes. Because you see that it's not the case at all. Oh my gosh, things are going completely. Really great illustrations too. So it's a book where children get the message just by experiencing it and really thinking through their fantasies. How would it be if a mother always said yes and never said no? What's it like to live in a world with no limitations, no boundaries? It really doesn't look that good. And it's a very exciting experience for children to experience it and internalize the new understanding they get from reading the book. Yeah.
I really do love children's books because you can just sneak the message in.
Yes. Yes.
And what I love about it is that while mom is reading this book to child, it's reinforcing like, oh, it's a good thing for me to say no and to set boundaries, because I think that a lot of moms feel guilty when they have to say no to something that their child really wants.
Exactly.
But if you say yes to everything, not only is there chaos and clutter and dirt and it becomes unsafe,
yes,
but the world's not going to always say yes to you.
Yes, exactly. Beautiful. Right. So the earlier you get that, the better. And then there's more understanding between the parents and the children. What you're saying is exactly it. People don't realize that every single age gets affected by children's books. It's the only kind of book that reaches everybody because the youngest children are reading it. The parents are reading it to the children. Grandparents are reading it. All these ages, and teenagers, they see the books lying around and they read them when no one's looking. So even they get the message. It reaches everybody. So yeah, my books are mostly message books with really important messages. And every one thing that all my books have in common, they all instill gratitude in children. That's my main thing. How to instill gratitude in children as early in life as possible. So sometimes I do it in subtle ways, but sometimes that's the main focus of the books that I'm writing. Yeah.
I love that you have that little underlying theme. And I'm curious about your granddaughter. What does she think of the book?
Oh my gosh, she thinks she wrote it. It's the cutest thing. She thinks it's her book. She's telling everybody, this is my book. She's so excited.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. We've got a future writer on our hands, I'm sure, because you just gave her the confidence that
Yes.
she wrote a book.
It's really, I didn't expect that reaction. It's so adorable. Yes.
Oh, I love that so much. I love the creativity that goes into children's books. I recently saw someone on TikTok reading a children's book, but I guess it was for moms because it was something along the lines of like, you're not the worst mom out there. So it was like a mom guilt book.
Oh.
And it was talking about mom feeling guilty about this, that, and the other thing. And it talks about the animal kingdom and how the animals treat their children. And like a giraffe will kick the baby until it walks. And
wow.
there was one, and I just was dying laughing because mostly because of the commentary that the TikToker was doing, but one of the animal moms, when it's getting chased, it'll throw the baby to the predator so that it can escape. And the person reading, she's like, man, she just yeeted her baby. And yeet is like my favorite Gen Z word. But it's like, that's my reaction. Like, wait, you're okay.
Oh my, wow. Wow.
Interesting.
Wow. Oh, I want to tell you that I think you are an amazing writer.
Oh,
I don't know if you've written any books yet, but your introduction to this podcast, I played it a few times. It is so beautiful. It's such a deep message. Just the introduction alone, we're shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Oh my gosh. That's what it's all about. I just love this. And I wrote down more things. I just love it. Children are looking to you for to find out how to live life. They're not listening to your lectures. They're watching the show of you. That's what it is. They're absorbing lessons from the unconscious ways that how we navigate life. I'm telling you, I'm so impressed with how you've expressed this. I'm saving it because I think it's really beautiful. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I do write. I have a mom guilt book. And I think by the time this episode is released, my my surrogacy book will be out, Creating Little Miracles. So
wonderful.
There, but yes.
Wonderful. You're very talented. I was so impressed. I've been on a lot of shows. This was like the most beautiful and inspiring introduction. Just amazing. Yes.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. I love this podcast, and like it's something that introduces me to people like you, where I wouldn't have met you any other way that I can think of.
No.
You know?
I'm actually in Israel right now, so for sure.
Right, we wouldn't have just run into each other. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, and like people get to eavesdrop on these amazing conversations that we have, and you know, there's a lot of people doing amazing things out in the world. I love you spread this positive message, and that the things that we do matter, and in ways that we're not even aware of. You know, I had amazing parents, and I didn't always feel that way about them.
Wow.
But you know, it's like I've said a couple of times on the podcast that you know, a lot of my limiting beliefs came from my dad having a reaction to something that I did that he didn't explain to me. And so I made my own meanings, and they weren't very empowering. And so it affected me as a child, and now as a mother. I explain anytime, and I have reactions to my son that aren't always the way that I would like to react. And I explain to him, like, this is why I do this. And my favorite thing is that now he does that to me. He'll
Oh,
say, Mom, I'm so sorry that I had an attitude. I'm really tired. Or you're irritating me when you ask me 1,000 times to get out of bed.
yes, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That's success. That's real success. That's beautiful.
And so it really does matter to look inside, to think about what our parents did, but not do the opposite. Like your granddaughter is like, I'm never going to say no to my child. Because look what that creates. Like it
Yeah.
really does matter
Yes.
to look at how our parents did things and then tweak it.
Yes.
What would have been a better way? It would have been so amazing if my dad had said, you know what? I'm sorry that I was irritated with you. I was in the middle of writing and had, and I didn't react well, and I apologize, but I love you. And I'm so glad that you asked me for help and whatever, like
Right.
that would have been something that would have shaped my life in a totally different way. And it did shape my life. So I like to say that one way or the other, you're shaping your children.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Unconsciously or consciously,
Consciously.
both. Exactly.
Yeah. And
yes.
Consciously is usually better.
Yes. Yes.
And forgiveness, when we're doing it unconsciously, we can't carry that around. It's heavy. It doesn't feel good. It's not enhancing our lives, and it's definitely not enhancing theirs.
Right.
So is, this inner child work fun? Sometimes.
Yes. Right. Right.
Yeah. If you geek out about it like I do, then it's fun.
That's great. Wonderful.
So what's something that is inspiring to you? Like you got this idea from your granddaughter, but what are other ways that you think of these children's books? There's some really fun birds just flying around out my window.
Nice.
I'm like, they're fun to look at. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, like during the pandemic, people know about my book. So like parents were asking for a book to explain to children. They said, my children are staying home all day, eating junk, not exercising, not going to sleep. Help, So my background's in public health, and I love explaining these kind of things because to me, part of helping children's souls to shine is also having a healthy body. That is part. You can shine more fully with a healthy body. So I explain. This is let's stay healthy. Let's stay healthy. I explain in a joyful way, really in a simple way too. Complex ideas. What does junk food do to our bodies? I explain this like when we get these, it's like causes inflammation, like too much sugar. The body goes, what are you doing to me? It actually gets inflamed. It's like it's not used to these unnatural substances in these large amounts, not the way we were meant to eat these things, like an orange, for instance. Like this is designed to be delicious and nutritious, while a lot of the junk food, it's designed to be delicious and addictive. Totally different. Different. So I explain all these kind of things to children, and they get it. And it's empowering because they start to understand the world more. That's what it does. So I explain exercise. Our bodies are designed to move, not to just sit around, which is going on too much now, and how joyful we feel when we move and we dance and we garden and we swim and we jump. It's like it changes, all these chemicals start flowing that bring joy. And also, when we get enough sleep, do an experiment on yourself and see how you feel the next day when you've had enough sleep or not enough sleep. You're more grumpy, you're more tired, you're not as happy. And even teenagers, they contact me afterwards and they'll say, I didn't get it. Now I understand how it is. Like sleep is really helpful. So I get ideas sometimes from other people. Um, Really, I'm not like a person that just loves to write. I like to write if I feel there's a message that the world needs to hear. That's when I write something. That's what motivates me to write something.
Yeah, no, I love that book. And I'm thinking about my 13-year-old in our conversation this morning that went from, we probably need a better snack than cereal when you're hungry at nighttime. And we need to remember to brush our teeth because he's terrified of needles, absolutely terrified of needles. And I said, when you get a cavity as an adult, they stab you with a needle in order to numb you up. And he's like, okay, I'm brushing my teeth every single day. And I was like, and it was so funny because I said, I didn't respect my teeth. Because I asked him, I said, remember to brush your teeth last night. And he said he forgot. And I said, listen, I didn't respect my teeth. And his response was so funny. I wish I remembered exactly what he said, but he's like, so basically they stopped respecting you. And I was like, exactly.
That's great.
Yeah. And I said, and not only is it painful, but it's expensive, and it's a waste of time and energy and resource. Like, it's just, if you spend an extra 5 minutes in the morning, in the evening, brushing your teeth, you will not have this expense.
Exactly.
Or the needles, which was more, I'm doing it.
Yes, excellent. He could put a reminder someplace because he'll probably forget till he gets in the habit, A reminder will be really helpful. He can make up his own reminder, a note or whatever. But like I talk about that too, brushing your teeth, like we don't see the germs, they're invisible, but they go running away. And I even talk about, and if you want to try getting out even more gook, you can floss your teeth while reading this book, because I didn't know about flossing, or I saw my parents do it and it seemed like really boring, but like it was really a problem for me later on in life. So now I'm so into flossing and my teeth have been in great shape ever since. Flossing is so important. And that you could do while you're doing something else, so
watching TV.
Yeah, exactly. But brushing the teeth and flossing really helps, because it really does get out more stuff than just the brushing. It's incredible. So it's really, and then washing with soap. That's another thing I did not want to do as a child. I was not into that. And I explain why it's really helpful. All these kind of hygienic things which seem absolutely boring and I wanted to avoid as a child. But if you explain it in a joyful way, they get it. And then I learned that it takes 400 repetitions to change to a new good habit. But if you do it joyfully, 10 to 20 repetitions and you've got the new habit down. So that's really the secret, doing things joyfully. And that's how you can inculcate new good habits much more quickly. Yeah.
Absolutely. One of the things that I've been hearing a lot lately is about meditation and the benefits of meditating, and that we don't even realize. And it's something that, the idea of it, and I'm sure I got this from my mom because I heard her say, she's like, I'm never going to meditate. My brain will not shut off. And I'm like, yeah, I probably got that from you. Okay.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of, like, I just finished a book called something about forgetting releasing the habit of being yourself, something along those lines. Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it's, and my brother is always asking me when I tell him, read this book, he's like, what's the gist? And so the gist is to meditate, because you can project who you want to be and bring that into who you are now, and you start behaving that way. And so I understand, because of that book, all the science behind the meditating. And sometimes I'm like, I don't know that I really want to, but the joy behind it is where it'll stop being a chore and just something to put on your to-do list.
Yes, that's just the best way to take on new habits. It's pour in the joy, sub in even more joyful habits than whatever you're doing. If you want to break a habit, you don't do restrictions. Diets like don't work for long, because who likes restrictions? It's about subbing in the joy. Bring in, like, for instance, bring in more healthy foods to fill up, and then you won't be craving the other stuff as much. Just keep pouring in more and more joy, and that's the most delightful way to create new habits. Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. So is there a piece of advice that you want to share with moms? And it's okay if that was it.
Yeah. No, my main thing is instilling gratitude as early in life as possible. Because if you have happiness skills from the beginning of life, then you've got them throughout your entire life. I learned stuff later on, and so we can play catch up, because thank God we have neuroplasticity. We can change our brains to become more grateful people. But instilling this in children as early in life as possible is ideal. And like you were saying, when we change ourselves, they see us modeling gratitude. That's the easiest way to inculcate it into our children. So I know the books help the parents and the children, but that's really it, because the piece of advice is this: what's the difference between a happy life and a miserable life? It's how grateful you are. That's really that's what determines whether you're going to have a miserable life or a happy life. It's how grateful you are. So the sooner we can develop gratitude skills, the better. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. You took the words right out of my mouth. Is there a book that's been instrumental in your personal development journey?
Let's see. I feel like talking about my memoir, because it is my journey. I put it together. It's from my diaries, and that became my journals and letters, and then I filled in the missing pieces. It is my journey of how I came to value being a mother, because I didn't value motherhood when I was growing up, and I came to value it on the job, to appreciate it. I'm going to read one little tiny poem in here. 1 minute. Let me just. This is the idea. Today I did nothing but wipe my child's nose, hold her head as she threw up, then changed all her clothes. When she was feeling better, fixed her a good meal. Today I got nothing done, just something real. That's to me like what it's about.
Yeah.
But learning to value that, learning to appreciate it, learning to be grateful to be a mother, because those minutes go by. They seem like forever when they're young, but then the time passes, and then we can be grateful for all those small moments. The more we can be grateful for all those small moments along the way, the better. Yeah.
I just love that. And like, That's the thing that I think moms struggle with so much, is like, I'm not getting the dishes done. I'm not getting the laundry done. But like, you are getting something done.
Yes.
And we are human beings,
Yes.
not human doings.
Yes.
So remembering that just being with your children
Mm.
is enough and is the doing. So
Yes.
love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for everything that you are doing in the world, for contributing these 43 books to bring more joy and gratitude into children's lives, and into the lives of their moms. I love it.
Oh, thank you for all you're doing. Thank you so much.
We will have another episode of Imperfect Momming for you all coming next week. And until we meet again, keep healing. Bye, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit coachalysialyons.com. That's ALYSIALYONS.com. And until we meet again, keep healing.